This is Jeff Steiner with the Dad's Resource Center. The Dad's Resource Center was founded by Dr. Joel N. Myers to provide education, resources, and advocacy for single fathers struggling to be in the lives of their children due to the involvement of the family court, county, and human services systems. We've had over 200 fathers, their friends, their family, reach out to us looking for help in these types of matters. So certainly there's a big need, and this is a big issue that we are dealing with here in our country today. But I have with us today Terry Smith, who is the author of See You Later. Thanks for being with us here today, Terry.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself? Tell us who you are, how you got to where you are today.
Okay, I have a history of publishing and editing books and magazines. So I've been publishing and editing books and magazines for about 15 years. And I'm a published poet as well as a curator and a gallerist and everything in the pretty much the art world. I've done from being a curator, for being a gallerist, from museum director. I have a huge history in the art world. And but in my older age, I'm kind of reflecting a bit more on my life and my immediate family, and I've been doing more writing about them and more of an insular, things that are going on, in our personal lives. And the books that I'm writing now are a reflection of that, hoping that I can articulate feelings that maybe some parents can articulate, into being able to start a conversation and the dialogue with their children or their significant other.
That's interesting. So, just kind of out of interest, was it your intention? Did you want to get into the art world and do these types of things, or is that just something that you had interests and you had some success and you just started building from it? How did you go in this direction?
Well, I've been publishing magazines for 15 years now, and I've been publishing books for 15 years. So, but they were mainly art books that I was publishing. And then I got a really huge deal and I segued into other genres. And one of the genres is children's books, self-help books. And now, I see, being a parent of an 8-year-old daughter, I see how these books can really have an influence on her and also be inspirational. And so the fact that I have worldwide distribution for my publishing company, I decided to reflect on some of the things that I know that are really difficult for parents to talk about, and to put books with those topics out there into the market. Where other parents who are going through these. I mean, 50% of the people in the United States are divorced. Like one in every two children are affected by divorce. So this is a topic that we all can relate with. And but there's not enough, from the child's perspective, that we're able, we're always seeing things from the parents' perspective, and the kids are just kind of like, the collateral damage, and or the byproduct of it, I should say. And but I think I'm writing because my daughter helped me write this book. So it's just like, she's a co-author of this book with me, and she definitely inspired the book. And that caricature of the cover is her on the book. So she approved it. and and I saw it work. I saw it work for her when I got a divorce from her mom. I saw the book work, and I saw, I really I needed to give her the tools that she needed to be able to navigate this situation.
And what's your daughter's name?
Maya.
Maya.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And is she, you said she's 8, or how old is she now?
Years old, but she'll tell you she's 8.5, but she's 8 years old, and she's an old soul. but she's
Right.
doing great.
So, can you share with us kind of the process you went through with Maya to be able to do the book?
Well, what was happening is so me and her mom separated, and then I relocated with her. And when we relocated, she was missing her mom. She was 4 years old, and this was hard on her. And but I think kids kind of instinctually know who the more stable parent is. I think there's something inside them that, yes, she missed her mom, but I think she knew, like, I would be better off with him. And even though it still hurts, it doesn't hurt as less. And but every day I had to figure out, like, how could I put a band-aid on a stab wound? How could I help her to navigate this and to get through this? And so I allowed, like, things like, allow more sweets, or I would, like, allow her to go to bed later, or I allow her to have, like, more plushies. It's like, I just, anything I could do to kind of like soften, the night for her, for her to be able to kind of like get through this period of separation. And so then when we used to visit during, I realized with the visitation, when we used to drop off, when I used to drop her off with her mom, she would kind of like miss me a little bit. But it's when I picked her up, she would pretty much like become so emotional. And I realized, like, something's happening to her, that like she just feels this abandonment kind of feeling. And I was like, I need to talk to her and let her know that it isn't goodbye. It's just see you later. And if you say see you later, you will see her again. It's like, you can miss her, but you're gonna see her again. So we used it everywhere. I used it with the park. I used it with, like, every place we went. See you later swimming pool, see you later parky, see you later car. It was see you later everything. And then what happened is it just became part of her kind of like DNA, and she didn't need to say it anymore because she knew she was going to see it again. Now, when we do visitation, there's no trauma, there's no crying, there's no emotion. It's just pretty much a hug and see you later, mom. And then we're off to the next thing. So it works. This book works. See you later works. And just communicating that with her, like, helped her. Like, it's like so many parents, like, they they don't have the tools to be able to communicate that feeling. And then the kid is just like left to its own device, and can't figure it out at 4 years old and at 5 years old. So we have to communicate every single thing, even the things that we think are just like, kind of self-evident, you know? So it's just like, it's some things are just not so definitive or defined. And it's just like we have to break it down, and in the language they can understand. And see you later was the simplest term, and it's like it worked, and she got it, and she used it. It's like and it's like, part of who she is now, that helped her to be able to deal with the separation and the visitation.
So, the spirit of what you said is super important. I don't want to lose sight of that, but there's something that jumps out to me, because what I see are a little more contentious situations pretty consistently. But what you did was exceptional in that you were truly connected to your daughter and you identified what her experience was. Because a lot of parents or people from outside the family see those reactions when children come away from visits with parents that are the minority custody time, and they make it about the parent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, the parent did something, right? And it spins into that ridiculousness.
Yeah.
You didn't do that. Like, this is how co-parenting works, is you didn't spin into the ridiculousness. You were in touch with your daughter to know what her experience really was. It wasn't that her mom's doing anything to her. It's her internal struggle with the dynamics of the situation, right? And then you came up with something very effective to help her with that. So I just want to give you a lot of credit, because you did something that I think, to be fair-minded, most co-parents probably pick up on that. But far too many of them don't even see things clearly enough to be able to see what you saw in this situation.
I think also the fact, that I'm older and I've been through some relationships and I've been separated, I've been divorced twice, and I have a son who's older, and I learned a lot from my divorce from his mom. And it's just like, so that situation you're speaking of, I've been on both sides of it. And it's just like, where it was the game. And it wasn't about him. It was just about like, okay, something's not right. Something wasn't right with me. You know what I mean? It wasn't him. It was something wasn't right with me. And I realized it now with my daughter, like that something was up, but then I couldn't see it. So being, like I said, like being older and like looking at things from a different lens has helped me to really understand everybody's perspective. And the most important person in this, equation is my daughter, is the child, pretty much.
Absolutely. People lose sight of that. So let me and ask about the mother then. Like taking this kind of an approach, what is your observation or your sense of how the experience is for Maya's mother then?
Well, I think that there's still like a lot of pain there because the mom, doesn't want to be separated from her daughter. So that's still there. And even though like she knows probably like it's the best thing for her, it still hurts. Like she still can't like accept it. It's like, you know what I mean? It's almost like against like her constitution to be able to accept that. So, but I think that you just kind of like you hope that you're doing the right thing, and I know the right thing, and I know I'm a great dad. And she's doing, and my daughter's doing great, and her mom knows she's doing great. So it's like you really all you can do is just start the dialogue. Who joins in on it is just like it's up to them. It's like people kind of progress and grow at their own rate. And it's just like and all I can do is just put the tools out there for people to use. It's like if she decides to use it, cool. If not, then I have to respect her boundaries and her space and her relationship with my daughter.
Very good. That's good advice. I hope there are fathers who are going through these things that are able to hear that. That's a good mindset, and that'd be important for people to know or hear. Well, let me ask you a little bit about Maya. Okay, can you talk about her interests, or her personality, or just tell everyone about Maya?
Maya is she's she's not of this world. She's okay, so she's been a straight A student for since pre-K. So, straight A's. She's tennis. She just won a tennis tournament. She's a chess player. Gymnastics is one of her favorite things to do. Spanish. Um, she's also a swimmer, like 4 years swimming now. She does piano recitals. She's I mean, she's in the number one private school in Louisiana. Like she loves reading. She loves people. She hates littering. She like she'd get out the car and go pick up something that's on the street and wonder why people litter. And she wants to give my money away to everyone. I tell her sometimes, it's like you have to watch out who you give the money to, but she wants to help everybody. She's a beautiful person, and she's going to be a great adult, and she's definitely on her road to becoming her own person in this world, and I'm doing it is like as a dad and like understanding what's going on, and I have a family to help me, but she's doing great. She's a great kid, and
Thanks for the compliment.
she's right here.
Hey, Maya.
Thanks for the compliment. She's crawling on the floor under the table. The
So, okay, congratulations, number one, and great job, Maya. Very good, young lady. But let me this thing about her wanting to give your money to everyone. The one day, my wife and I, we had the two girls in the back of the car, and our youngest is one of those kinds of kids too. We're on our way to Walmart, And you know how people sit outside of these places with the signs, homeless, I need money. And she's like, oh, let's stop it. And mom and I at the same time are like, no, no, because we're very giving people and we help the community, so we're trying to instill that in our daughter, but we also need to know those are not the people who we're helping, sweetheart. That's part of parenting too.
Yeah, 100%. As long as they know the difference, it's like they just see somebody asking for money and they automatically they don't understand the nuances that go with it. And but like I said, it's just like, I usually just give it without question. And like if you can afford it, then give it. If you can't afford it, don't give it.
Yeah, very good. So when you said she wrote the book with you and you guys work collaboratively on the book,
Yeah.
How did that work?
Well, I have illustrators, and so as I'm sketching it out and writing it out, I always let her read it, and then she'd agree with it or she wouldn't agree with it. So then I'll fine tune it, and then once she's kind of like okay with it, then I get it illustrated, and then I'll ask her, well, do you think that character looks good? And she'd be like, no, they should have curlier hair, or maybe lighter or darker skin, or maybe taller or chubbier. So she'll just fine tune it until she gives it her approval. And then once she gave her approval, like from the first page to the end page, then I put it into production.
So it was almost personalized throughout the course of the process. You personalized it with Maya.
Oh yeah, because it's her story. It's our story. So it's just like, she's to me, she's a co-author, and we decided to like work on these books. Like the next book we're working on is Why Don't I Have a Normal Family? So that's another issue he's talking about. And it's just like there's so many of them. And then I figured, you know what? I'm not the only single dad out here. And it's just like, and I'm not the only dad that has custody. And it's just like, and so I decided that, or just parent, she just said parent. And so I was like, this conversation I'm having, I'm able to have this conversation with the world, with these books. And it's like, so parents who are hearing these things from their kids and not knowing how to respond, hopefully they can pick up our book and be able to start the conversation. That's what it's all about. It's about nothing else. It's not vanity. It's not money. It's just about being able to pay it forward and giving the tools, in the marketplace where people go to bookstores and try to, get that book to be able to kind of like, share with their child and try to figure it out. And I want to make books to help people figure it out.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so this is something that we talk about a lot with the Dad's Resource Center. We've been published a number of places talking about the 3 stages of separation. They are, and now all families that are separated, whether they're married or not, if you've had mom and dad in some sort of a relationship and they decide they are no longer going to be in a relationship, they go through these 3 basic phases: family reorganization, co-parenting, and personal growth. The family reorganization period is just where you got to figure out the logistics. When and where are the child or children going to be, and how are they going to be supported initially? That's the first thing you got to sort out. Once you do that, you go into the co-parenting phase. And so what happens is when 2 people are together, they become intertwined, like financially, sleep in the same bed. Like everything about them becomes conjoined. When they move out from underneath that one house, they're starting their separate paths in life. At the same time, you have the shared interest, which is your child or children. And you got to figure out how to work collaboratively on behalf of that child. So this is the period where you figure out how to make that work. Now, a lot of people work through it reasonably well. People struggle in different ways. Some people struggle a lot, and they become involved with the family court system, mediation, family counseling, lawyers, all those types of things. But you got to get through this phase before you can reach the 3rd and final phase, which is personal growth, where you reach a routine where you know where the children are going to be, you've agreed to that and how they're going to be supported, and then you've built your lives around your partnership in raising your children, and it becomes a routine. And at that point, what comes now? What comes ahead of us? But it's only at that point that the children can truly resolve themselves and move forward. Because if you're in this contentious stuff and things are uncertain, things are too uncertain for the children to be able to really think about how to figure out how to have two homes, two parents, two separate family lives. So these are the three stages of separation. And as someone who's written a book that kind of helps lay a little bit of a roadmap to be able to get through those phases, I wanted to share that with you and get your thoughts on the three stages of separation. Just comment from your own personal experience or from what you're trying to do with See You Later.
The first thing with the support and the first the family
State.
reorganization.
Yeah.
So with the family reorganization, in my situation, it was about relocating to Louisiana from California, and it was like my mom was here, and I had a support group here, and things were like in Los Angeles. It was just like every other day. It was just so difficult, like dealing with my ex, and it was just like, and she started to act out in front of the kids. Like at first it was kind of like, just when the kids went to sleep, then we would kind of have our disagreement. Then it started being in front of the kids. And that's when I was like, okay, she has no control over her emotions. And now it's getting to a point where I had to figure out how to save my daughter. And it was just like, so I was like, okay, I'm going to move out. And I would like to take Maya with me. And she didn't have a job. I was supporting her. And it's just like, so she knew, like, she couldn't take care of her. Like, you know what I mean? She just didn't have the means to do it. And she knew my mother, and she knew the home we have here and the life we have here. She was okay with letting her leave.
Okay.
It changed as we established ourselves here. But it was like in the beginning, it was almost like she was getting her freedom back. And in that, she was okay with that until she got enough freedom that she didn't want too much freedom anymore. And you know how that works. It's just like, everybody, the grass is always greener on the other side until you get to the other side. And so for me, that's what it was. It was like the restructuring was the relocation, and to come to a more like stable and loving environment without any of the arguments, and especially in front of the kids. So that was the beginning part for me for the family reorganization part, where she was able to go get back in school. She was able to kind of like live her life without the pressures of being care of a family. So she got her freedom, and I got to.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so that was my reorganization part of the three stages. And then the co-parenting part, in the beginning, again, like, it's really difficult because it's hard for both parents. I mean, if you get in a situation where you and the other parent on the same page, you're a lucky person. And so again, like there's a lot of feeling, there's a lot of denial, there's a lot of, anger and bitterness that usually involved with separation or divorce in the beginning. And it evolve. It's like I always try to evolve to a better place. It's like there's no use repeating the cycle. And hopefully if you couldn't be lovers or good husband and wife or whatever the case, hopefully you can be at least civil friends and great co-parents. And it's just like, and you also have to just realize sometimes people take a little longer to kind of reach that place. And you just have to be patient with them and just continue to reach an olive branch, I think, to them. And hopefully one day they can see that all you care about is the child. And once I think established, I think maybe it becomes like, kind of like, the only language you're speaking now. Because it's like, I'm still dealing with like a little bit of like anger with my ex. I'm still feeling like she's still holding on just a little. And it's just like, and sometimes when you don't have the love or you don't have the companionship, the only thing you have is conflict. And in that conflict, sometimes people are addicted to that conflict. And it's just like, so that's what happens. And hopefully you can evolve from that and see the humanity in it and the compassion in it. And so you just have to wait for people to talk, get on the same page. And if they don't get on the same page, you still have to stay on the same page, for the child. And at least you can have like one person that's going to be that same person every day, and that stability every day. It's like kids need that. And so the co-parenting part, sometimes it works, sometimes it's great. It's like, when you see the other parent doing homework, with the phone visitation and, like just kind of like being really positive and listening to the child. It's like that's when you really think, okay, this is working. But then you have some moments where it's just kind of like, it just gets sidetracked, and then some energy comes in from the past that just kind of like, overshadows the positivity. And but you still kind of just the course. So co-parenting, like I said, for me, it's been 50-50. It's just been one of those places where, I'm always hopeful, but it's just like, I can't think or I can't control the other person. It's like I only can control myself. And I just do the best I can with the co-parenting aspect of it. And with the personal growth, it's like, the personal growth has been phenomenal for me. It's like, I'm in a great place. And it's just like I've realized so many things about myself that, we sometimes we think that we need someone else to be happy. We think that, we get set up into these situations where the house and the picket fence and the dog and 2.2.5 kids, and the 2.5 bathrooms. And it's like we just, kind of get conditioned for this. And when you start doing a lot of self, like, reflection, and when you start to really live life and realize, your mortality, you just really think, it's just all about health, wealth, and happiness. And just like, making sure like those three things are in order, and you're taking care of that. And it's like you just start like really realizing what's important. And you're important. Your health is important. Your financial stability is important. Your happiness is important. I tell my daughter every day, even if you have money or not, try to do something that makes you happy. Try to do something. It's like, because before you know it, it's just like this life is over. And you don't want to sit back with regret. You don't want to sit back thinking, oh, maybe I should have did something differently. Do something differently now. It's like, just do the best you can. So the personal growth for me has been phenomenal. I think a lot of growth is happening with my ex as well, but she's just moving. She's younger, so she's just kind of like, her process is taking a little bit longer. And then I being blessed single dad with custody. So I got this beautiful person in my life every day, making sure I do the right thing every day. It's like, so I'm blessed to be to have full custody and to be able to take care of her every single day.
That's extraordinary. That's really awesome. There's some up and your story, kind of sum totaling it from my standpoint, is there's been some up and downs to be expected, but by and large, it's gone as well as it could. And also, what people lose sight of sometimes is if you can get on that back end where you've removed yourself from that other person and you start to build your own life, you're going to be a happier and healthier person.
100%.
If you want to hang on to all the other nonsense, you're just making yourself and everyone else miserable. So
yeah, and I've been on both sides of it. You know what I mean? I know how it feels to be, in her shoes, and I know, how it feels to be in my shoes. I know both sides of that situation. And man, it's like you just have to have faith, and you just have to trust in the process, and you just have to trust in just love and just forgiveness. It's like, the most important word I think that's underestimated in the English language is forgiveness. I think once I started to forgive and forgive myself, you know what I mean? It's just like, I think that's when I started to live, and things started up for me. The universe started to open up, and my opportunities started to open up. Everything opened up. Once I started to forgive and forgive who people who've hurt me and forgive what I've done to people. You have to yourself too. So many times, we always we harp on things that we can't control, and it's just like we just have to let it go and pay it forward. There's ways to pay it forward and forgive yourself. It's like, we can't get that time back, but we can control from this moment forward. And that's all you can do. It's like, just do the best you can, and try to think outside of yourself and think about other people. Think about how they're gonna react to your actions, to your words. It's like, try to censor yourself. Try to just kind of, you know, tread softly, and in that, it'll all work out, because people also see, what? He normally would have said something. They're making notes too. And then in that, they're changing up a little bit. And then the dynamics changing. And then you get to a place where you both kind of like, man, this feels pretty good. And then hopefully, man, from there forward, you guys have turned a chapter in that book of this journey of life that we're on. And then hopefully we can start living a fulfilled and meaningful existence.
Wow, that this is just really exceptional stuff. I can say for myself, I'm pretty good at treading softly with other people. I'm conscious of the impact that I can have on other people, and I've always been careful in that regard. I'm dealing with a personal situation that I just can't get that forgiveness thing hit me because I can't. Like I don't normally have to forgive. I just kind of whatever, but I'm kind of there's a big wall to me, and forgiveness is on the other side with these people, and I don't know if I can get there or not. But I think what you said is a little bit of inspiration to maybe help me at least start to kind of progress on that. So thank you for sharing that, Terry.
100%. I think that when you do, you'll feel it. You know what I mean? It's like, I've been through it, with my dad and, ex-wives and stuff. It's just like, man, it's like, and I've seen them go through it. I've seen them call me up, hey, it's not your fault 5 years later. You know what I mean? I've seen it, and it's just like, in the feeling you get from it, when you finally forgive, because it's just like, it's just so life affirming, and it's just like, but it takes so much. And it's just like, and man, it's like, especially when somebody's really done something to you that you feel on a cellular level, but it's like, you have to. It's like, trust me, it's just like, and then I don't mean a surface forgiveness either. I don't mean just the words. I'm talking really forgiving and moving on, because it allows you to move on with your life. It'll, not them, because you can't control them. It's like, when you're forgiving them, it's you. It's all in you. It's like, not to harbor that hate or not to harbor that resentment. All that's like a virus inside of you. And once you get rid of that, man, you get rid of that virus.
Very good words. Very good words. So I guess as we start to look at wrapping things up, is there anything else you want to share about the story of the book, Maya? Anything?
No, I mean, like I said, that all I can do is do the work. It's just like, I'm a writer, you know, I write. It's just like, I'm a person that I feel like I've evolved, that I'm enlightened. And I feel like I'm at a place in my life where I want to help people. And it's just like, and before I was more selfish. Before it was just kind of like, me, my friends, my colleagues. But now I have, like I said, I have access to the world through a bookstore, through Amazon, through other places where people can pick up this book. And I'm hoping that the parents that need it, that can get this book and start this conversation with their child. And like I said, 1 in every 2 children in the United States is affected by divorce or separation. So everyone could use this book, and it's a simple process. And like, some people it'll work, some people it won't work. But it's just like, I mean, what does it cost to try? You know, especially if your child is between like 4 and like, 7 years old, that maybe they, like just something as simple as just saying, see you later, just changing that narrative from goodbye to see you later and letting them understand, like, what it means. Like, see you later being that, okay, hey, we saw him again. Isn't that great? And we're going to see him again and we're going to come back to the park. It's like nothing is final. It's like, when kids, when they divorce and you move out of the house or you relocate to a different state, they're feeling the whole world has just left them. And but you have to reassure them that this is just like, just a trip. This is like one small trip. And it's going to be lots of trips. And we're going to keep coming back. It's like a round trip ticket, and that's it. It's just like, that's all this book is. It's just like, in letting them know that they have the power. They are enough. And both parents love them and both parents want to be in their lives. And your life could be even more fulfilled because now you have two homes. Now you're going to meet different friends and your parents are going to probably, get involved with different people. It's going to keep getting larger and larger. So you look at it from a perspective that your world is going to grow. Growth is beautiful. It's like, so you can't look at it as what you look at it as what you're gaining.
Very good. Very good, Terry. So can you share a little more information about where people can find the book or get to the book?
Yeah, see you later. So if you just Google "see you later," it's every Barnes and Noble. The book comes out October 11th. So, but you can still pre-order it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and it'll be available like everywhere books are sold. Like everywhere books are sold. So every website has it. And like I said, it's just I just think it's a necessary tool to begin a difficult conversation.
Very good. Thank you for doing that. Like you said, half the families in this country face these types of issues. So certainly there are a lot of people there that could potentially benefit from what you and Maya have worked on. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for taking the time, and I enjoyed speaking with you.
You too, my friend. Hey, I'll see you later.
I'll see you later. I like that. Okay, take care of yourself.
All right, Terry.
Bye-bye.